So, hello everyone. I'm Jay Schuster with the Student Animal Legal Defense Fund. We're a club here at NYU, a student organization that is trying to help animals. And we're putting on a lot of awesome events like this throughout the year. I really encourage you to sign up. We're going to pass around a list soon. If you want to get involved with other cool events like this, we're putting on amazing speakers, panels, debates, and other movie screenings. And we're really excited about it. I also want to do a quick plug for another group that I'm involved in. That's the Animal Rights Activism Committee of the National Lawyers Guild. We're doing an event on October 28th, a Know Your Rights training, where we're basically going to do a meet and greet. You can meet us at ARAC and learn about how to know your rights when you are doing demonstrations or doing positive outreach for animals. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to say if you're a student, definitely make sure to reach out to me before the night is over. And if you're not a student, you should also make sure to reach out to me before the night is over. We've got a door in the back. If anyone needs to leave in the middle of the movie, it's probably best if you try to exit out that way. And yeah, that's all for now. Just want to thank you all again for coming. This is like shockingly amazing turnout, more than we've ever had for any event. But I can't just thank you guys. I have to really thank Rafaela and Collective Group. And now I want to turn it over to her. So yeah, thank you so much.
Hi everyone. Yeah, like Jay said, this is really amazing. Such a great turnout. Thank you so much for coming. Tonight's really important to have your presence here. So like Jay said, my name is Rafaela Chavata. I'm one of the founders for collectivelyfree.org. We are an organization that's pro-freedom and all-inclusive. And what we believe in is that all earthlings matter equally, and therefore their interests and their issues should be treated equally as well. And that real social change can be built and will be built when a sense of community is strong and is established and is taking place. So through the way of having this sense of community being strong and being established is by us raising awareness, educating, and working towards abolishing violence, discrimination, inequalities, and exploitation. The whole reason why we want to throw this event here for you guys tonight is because we want to empower you, and we want to empower you to make some real social change. Like the movie you guys are about to see, to throw some kind of event like this, I just wanted to share a very short story to maybe inspire you guys to do some of the things that we do, because anybody can do, an event like this. Anybody can throw an event like this, and anybody can help other people to do events like this and raise awareness and educate people on the matter. So just a quick thing on how this started. So this is our website, just real quick, just so you guys know. You can find us collectivelyfree.org or on Facebook. Same thing, Collectively Free. And the way that we targeted this event was to get a list of all the environmental organizations, because you guys are about to see an environmental documentary. And most of the environmental organizations don't really talk about the real issue for climate change. And we also have the People's Climate March coming this Sunday. That's something else you guys should be aware of, and please participate as well. I'm sure you're going to get inspired after watching the movie. So what we did is we got a list, 350.org, Greenpeace, Amazon Watch, Rainforest Action Network, so on, put together a list, and we blasted their page with questions such as, why are you guys not talking about the real issue of climate change? How come nobody's addressing this issue? And then we gave them solution. Have you guys watched Cowspiracy? Do you know what this is about? And then we promoted our event. So we started doing this from day one until this event. I don't know if there's anybody here that's from any of those organizations I mentioned. You are?
Actually, you gave me the information about this event.
Great. Thank you for coming. This is amazing. Another thing that we did too, some of our organizers got really creative, and they actually went to those organizations themselves. This is Carla. She's not here tonight, but she went to the Natural Resources Defense Council, and she was leafleting there to get those people to come. And even if they don't come, hey, they saw Cowspiracy, they saw some flyer talking about it, and maybe they're not here tonight, they still have that awareness that was brought up to them. Yeah, so this was one of the cool things that we did. Another thing that one of our other organizers, Kate, did was to go to the People's Climate March events and go there and leaflet as well. And one of the coolest things too that we did was find out what were the most, I guess, advertised campaigns and movies that the People's Climate March were spreading out. And we came out with this movie called Disruption. I don't know if any of you guys heard about it, but it's like they're advertising this movie like crazy. And we thought, oh my god, it must be really good. So let's go to this event and basically crash it. So we did. We went to the event, we watched the movie. She asked me what the movie's about. I really have no idea. It talked about CO2, which I already knew, and it promoted the People's Climate March. So it really, I swear to God, you guys can be the judge. Go watch the movie. So what we did in the end, there was no Q&A whatsoever, but I did raise my hand and I did say some stuff right there. So I have a little video that I just want to show you guys, just to inspire you to do, you know, like anybody can do this stuff. So I want you guys to think about these things. Let's see if is the volume okay, you think? Okay. So these were my afterthoughts after watching Disruption.
And everything, but I do think, just as a general, because
Can you guys
we're all
hear?
going through the climate march, it failed miserably to actually tell us what's the #1 cause of pollution, air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, which is animal agriculture. 51% of all greenhouse gas emissions comes from animal agriculture. So there's also another great documentary called Cowspiracy that I highly recommend that you guys check it out. We're actually, if you don't mind, we're actually hosting it. So if you don't mind it, actually some methane is way more powerful than CO2. And animal agriculture goes down, methane goes down, and that's the quickest that we can see the diminish of Celsius coming down. So that's the immediate thing that we can do today, right now, is say enough with animal agriculture, let's not give our dollars to them, and that way we can have a very fast impact. So just want to throw that to you guys. Thank you.
You know, I thought I should let them know, I mean, after all, you know. So, yeah, I highly encourage you guys to do stuff like this, and if you don't know where to start, you know, we're here to support you. Like I said, we're collectivelyfree.org. Find us on Facebook. Check out our website. Come talk to me after. We're doing a lot of great things. We're also marching at the People's Climate March, so we're going to have our own section over there, and we're probably throwing our next demo within 2 weeks, I want to say. We're strategizing the final you know, plans of it. So I would love to have you guys, you know, be engaged into what we do. It would be really, really amazing. And that's it. So let's start with the movie. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
So, what did you guys think? That was my second time seeing the film, and it is just as good as the second time. So we're gonna have 2 speakers for you guys, and then followed by a little Q&A. Appreciate you guys sticking around for that, and then we'll do the raffle. So our first speaker is Robert Jensen. He is an environmental scientist working for an engineering company here in New York. He's also an animal rights activist. He's a busy guy. He's an organizer for Collectively Free, Direct Action Everywhere, and New York Farm Animal Save. Let's hear it for Robert Jensen.
Thank you.
You might be able to just talk loud enough.
Sure.
So yeah, thanks everyone for coming tonight. I wanted to start out with a quote from a good friend of mine who wrote in his most recent book, Occupy This Book by Mickey Z. What we do or don't do in the next few years could quite possibly tilt us all toward either the point of no return or a far more sane form of society. In other words, each one of us can take part right now in creating the most important social changes ever imagined. We're on the brink of economic, social, and environmental collapse. What an extraordinary time to be alive. How lucky are we? We've been trusted with the most vital mission of all time, survival. So yeah, I first came to veganism back about 11 years ago when I just saw a flyer in my freshman year dorm room bathroom stall that said to produce 1 pound of meat requires 2,500 pounds or 2,500 gallons of water, and I thought, you know, my God, like what a waste of resources that is. And you know, as someone who takes the environment seriously, and I figured that I had to at least go vegetarian to make a real effort at that. And then I found after not eating meat, I was more open to animal rights arguments about why choosing a vegan lifestyle is so important, and plant-based diet obviously for the environment. And yeah, just as it mentioned in the film, I think one of the speakers there mentioned that by 2030 we'd exceed all of the CO2 emissions targets without transportation or energy factored into the equation. But there's also just a recent paper by researchers in Cambridge and Aberdeen that found that food production alone, they estimate by 2050, would exceed our global warming greenhouse gas emission targets alone. So obviously food, agriculture needs to be a part of the discussion right away if we're going to survive environmental collapse. Lead researcher from the University of Cambridge's Department of Engineering said, agricultural practices are not necessarily at fault here, but our choice of food is. Food production is a main driver of biodiversity loss and a large contributor to climate change and pollution, so our food choices matter. Environmental organizations have been setting lofty goals for reducing carbon emissions, but fail to promote plant-based diets. This obviously alienates most of the donors and requires more personal agency than people are comfortable with. But this is the exciting part. We don't have to wait for some world-saving innovation like cold fusion or even super cheap solar panels. We can take action today. It's crazy to me that some scientists are looking for carbon sequestration technology to take CO2 out of the atmosphere and drill deep holes into the ground and inject it into deep underground wells, arguably just to continue eating cheeseburgers. We are so addicted to meat that we are researching geoengineering rather than switching to a plant-based diet. Is tofu really that bad? It's really disheartening to be concerned about climate change and see our so-called environmental heroes like Bill McKibben of 350.org say things like, there's no company on Earth who's done more to try and change the planet than Ben & Jerry's. It's a tough pill to swallow when you realize folks who probably started out with the noblest of intentions can be corrupted and blinded to the solution because they lack either the conviction to practice a plant-based diet, are such products of our carnist culture, or at the worst, they put their fundraising objectives ahead of the cause they purport to care about. The hypocrisy of which, to me, makes them worse than the most ardent oil, gas, and coal energy promoters. More than taking action personally, I ask all of you who have been inspired by this film today to have the strength of your convictions, knowing what you know, not only to practice a plant-based diet yourself, but to share these facts with friends and family. Do not shy away from the facts for the sake of being polite, that everyone's entitled to their own personal choices. Everyone's personal choices are destroying the ecosystem, threatening our own lives on this planet, and unleashing untold suffering on humans and non-human animals as the effects of dangerous climate change are now imminently on the horizon. I hope you make new connections here with people involved tonight. And my goal, I share a goal with someone who spoke here just about a month ago, Wayne Hasung of Direct Action Everywhere, who said that his goal is to make non-vegans, his goal is to make non-vegans vegans and to make vegans activists. So if you're considering veganism but not sure where to start today, do some online research. Google is your friend, but there's also a lot of information out there and it can seem overwhelming. So I wanted to recommend that you look at the Peace Advocacy Network is putting on a vegan pledge. You can go to panveganpledge.org, that's P-A-N veganpledge.org, and sign up for that. It starts October 12th, and we take you through week by week 30-day vegan pledge. We have a meeting every Sunday, and we speak for, meets for about an hour. It takes you through cooking classes and shopping at health food stores, introducing you to some of the products and ways to make transitioning to a vegan lifestyle as easy as possible. And please reach out to all the organizers here tonight, myself, Neil, Rafaela, Lilia, any organizers with Collectively Free here tonight. And thank you all so much for coming.
Last year, it was kind of awesome. But so our next speaker is Neil Segal. He is an educator, an activist, and a multimedia artist who founded the grassroots advocacy group Evolve for Animals, which is to inform the public about veganism and the plight of animals. Let's welcome Neil.
Neil, if I could just quickly
Sure.
steal your thunder, we're going to pass around the list here if anyone wants to sign up to hear about other cool events that we put on. So just pass it down to us.
Okay, let's talk, guys. There are many reasons why someone would choose to adopt a vegan lifestyle, and all of those reasons are good ones. The question is no longer why are you vegan, but why are you not? For the earth, the animals, our health, for the operation of international economies, to defend workers' rights, for the resolution of world hunger, for the perseverance of the idea because it's the right thing to do. We all believe in nonviolence. We all believe in compassion. We all believe in caring for this earth we call home. But in the words of Dr. Sukraj S. Dillon, your beliefs don't make you a better person. Your behavior does. We need to act on what we believe. Our pity will not save this world. Being proactive, however, will. To be quite honest with you, the issue of how to address the environmental crisis we are in isn't even a debate anymore. It's a ticking time bomb that doesn't allow for intellectual banter over overpriced lattes. It requires a dismantling of the trigger, the machine, the status quo, the hedonistic self-indulgence that we celebrate in real life and we click the like button on social media. Veganism is a lifestyle and a diet that seeks to exclude the use of animals for any and all purposes. And there are people here in this room that will help you do so. Contrary to the myth perpetuated by mainstream media and primetime sitcoms, veganism is not a lifestyle of deprivation. It is a lifestyle of abundance. To the vegans in this room, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
It's easy. No one can tell you any different. A few years ago, Captain Paul Watson, founder of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Group, had a conversation with George Blitchfield, the leader of the High North Alliance, a pro-whaling lobbying group. I would like to share that exchange with you here. Blitchfield says, "But Watson, you say that whales are more intelligent than people. How can you say such a stupid thing? This is stupid, this is crazy." Captain Watson replied, "George, I happen to measure intelligence by the ability to live in harmony with the natural world. By this criteria, whales are far more intelligent than we are. Blitchfield, angry, responds, "That is a stupid criteria." By that stupid criteria, you could say cockroaches are smarter than people. To which Captain Watson calmly replies, "George, you're beginning to understand what I'm talking about." The time is now. The situation is dire. This is our world and our home. Veganism is environmentalism. And if you are not a vegan, you are not an environmentalist. It is time to step up to the plate and take animals off the plate. Thank you. Yeah, all right, so are there any questions?
Bring it on.
Are there any non-vegans in the room?
Single it out.
Single out. Yeah.
Thank you for bravely coming. Now she is.
No, just like your thoughts, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Of the 70 billion animals that we currently have, what if everybody today says we're vegan? What do we do with these animals?
That's a good problem.
It comes a lot of questions.
It's almost like a false question because no one would go eating all at the same time, right? However, there's an infrastructure of sanctuaries, right? And as the population of breeding increases, so will the population naturally, incrementally, and exponentially decrease. Am I right? Yes. Yeah. So just by breeding, the lack of demand. So the thing is this: when you go vegan, it's not even a protest. It's nothing abstract like that. It is removing yourself from the economic cycle. You are taking away the demand for the product, right? So you are directly affecting that animal and many others who would be bred in the future.
Yeah, I mean, basically we're creating these animals. We're bringing them into existence for our diet. A lot of them can't actually reproduce on their own. Turkeys, for example, and cows even mostly are artificially inseminated at this point. So we're creating them to bring into the food system. So if the demand's not there, we're not going to be creating them into the food system.
I think another issue, so we talked about being vegan, right, and we talked about consumption. So I grew up in Southern Illinois on a dairy farm, so my dad is going to disown me. Oh, no, just kidding. When we talk about consuming it, and here I am holding my bag that I had before I was vegan, and my wallet that I had before I was vegan. So what about the fashion industry? What's being done to stop the demand of leather and fur and all of those goods? And I wonder what percentage of animal products are going to the fashion industry versus food consumption?
I can speak for leather because I did a lot of demos on leather. But leather is not even a byproduct. It's an industry on its own. It has become that powerful. So by default, if you stop eating meat, you are not contributing to the leather industry. In terms of fur, if you're vegan, you're also by default not contributing to any of those things, or animal testing. You name it, everything that englobes animal exploitation in some form, you're not going to contribute to that. But there's a lot being done. In terms of fur, there's a lot of protests, but unfortunately, I think that's a thing that we should ask ourselves too as activists. What are we doing that we're not doing right? Because the demand for fur has only actually increased. It's a really sad thing to say because it makes us feel like we're not doing a good job. So as far as to solve that issue, I'm not sure, but us as activists we have to think of other ways of solving the issue, because that's not enough. I like to say that we have to think beyond veganism. Even I know we're asking you guys, go vegan. Now we're like, go beyond vegan. Hold on. I know. It's just as you evolve into and as you live the vegan lifestyle, you're also gonna come to the conclusion that you also have to think beyond it if we want to solve a lot of those issues now. So.
But the question of asking why we think we need to consume so much. I was also thinking in the movie, in the beginning when they were talking about how like we can change our water showers and we can change our toilets. Like, that sounds like a whole new market to me, you know, just like a new market of products to sell to people to, you know. I mean, how do you guys feel about addressing the consumer aspect?
Right. The issue is that one feeds into the other, actually. Animal rights or veganism can be considered a single issue that's separate from the rest. But the fact is that's so interconnected and so part of the fiber of our consumerism and the capitalistic system that we have, that by dismantling our use of animals, so much of the rest of the problems start to decline. It's a panacea for so many of the world's issues. And I think this is the other thing. So many times animal rights activists or vegans get criticized for not caring about people or not caring about the gemstones that get used in cell phones or what have you. But what you will find is that most vegans actually do care about a wide variety of social issues. And I think the filmmaker says it best when he says that it was an alignment for him, right? It's an alignment with the world. And when you start to bring in issues of compassion, right? Now you're not different because you're gay or you're a woman or you're of a different race, right? Now there's not an issue of like, oh, now I got to care about where my chocolate comes from too. You do naturally because it's part of the alignment. The more, I think it's like we're digesting violence. We're digesting violence continuously every day. That does something to us psychologically. That does something to us physiologically, where we cannot think clearly about the fact that this entire world is connected and we're not separate from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope that kind of addresses
Yeah, it does. I mean, it was kind of a difficult, kind of a vague question.
Okay. I think you're going about this completely wrong, and I'm just talking pure politics. If you go to people my age, I'm almost 60, and you say, look, stop eating meat, you're going to live another 20 years. That's going to get people interested.
You're going to live another 20 years if you give up meat.
Start
Go
with
vegan.
greed and work from there. That's what I'm saying. Because people, I think about the people I work with. If I start talking about the environment, animal rights, anything like that, even if I start talking about waste,
What's all the reasons?
how many thousands of gallons it takes to make one hot dog, they're not going to be interested. I tell them if they don't eat that hot dog, they're going to live another 6 weeks. That's how you're going to get people's attention. That's all I got to say.
I'm with you. I mean, that's what you care the most, and that's what you think it's going to cause the most effect on that particular age group or that particular demographics. But there are a lot of people who are deeply concerned about the environment. So we're not trying to say the only thing that's going to save the world now, environmentally speaking, is just veganism. That's it. It's only going to affect the environment. That's not true. Veganism also affects our health. It affects, like Neil said, you know, the dignity of workers, world hunger. So it's people, it's planet, it's animal rights, and it's health. Tell them to watch Forks Over Knives. That's a movie, that's a documentary that focuses exclusively on health. So I mean, I wish we could screen all of them at once for you guys so we can cover everything.
Yeah, here's the other thing too. When we say things like we should just approach it from this one particular health angle, what we're really saying is that we don't think people are inherently good, and I disagree. I'm a teacher. I see kids every day. They're all fantastic. They just might be ethically confused. They might be conditioned to think a certain way. But when you show people the reality and you talk to them like human beings, right, with dignity, I don't mean to exclude you, like animals too, right? Right? With some respect, they respond. I haven't seen anything contrary to that notion.
Cowspiracy, actually, I heard, is the first of a trilogy, and the next ones will be health and animal rights.
Oh, wow.
Right. You know, real social change can be built, and will only be built if there is a solid sense of community, and that sense of community is strengthened. And I think with what we were trying to do here with this event tonight, when I said, you know, we want to empower you guys. It's not just us, you know, you guys changing, like Lauren said, individually, you gotta affect other people around you, and you gotta be out there and be part of the social change, because we need this change, and the world needs this change now. I mean, we can change the course of our history. No kidding. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's the reality.
Vegan
If
cheesy.
every vegan it sounds so cliche, but it's true. Like if everyone leaves out of here tonight with this eagerness to change, to evolve, to transform, and to inspire others around you, we will change things. And for once, it's going to be for the better. You know. So.
I was going to ask you, it was kind of a compound or distillation on his statement before on engaging people on veganism. I mean, I'm sure I, like the majority of people in here, hope for a world where one day it's as socially acceptable to ask a meat eater where they get their fiber as it is for a meat eater to ask me where I get my damn protein, okay? So what do you see as an, I mean, obviously everyone has different values, but what's the most effective way to kind of, plant a vegan seed with someone when they, where do you get your protein? I mean, I can go off on a list of, what I eat, but, what's an effective way to kind of, take that in a productive manner and actually open a mind and make people think twice about it?
To that specific question? Or in general when talking?
In general, what do you find is the most effective way to engage the topic of veganism and dietary change? Dietary change, independent of veganism, is still a huge thing to ask of somebody. You know what I mean? Like, as someone who, was over 350 pounds at one point in my life, I know what dietary change can be and how important it is. But how to engage people and make someone else value the way we value, that's where my disconnect is.
Sure. Well, I think
Any advice?
I think it really depends on the person and what. It really depends on knowing what they will respond to best. Some people it might be a health argument,
right.
Or some people it might be the environmental argument, or animal rights. But that's why I think it's so critically important to have people who are willing to, be open and speak about veganism to their friends and family. Because only they know the best way to reach one of their friends or family. So that'd be my.
I would say it's one. Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's one part psychology, right? It's one part pedagogy. How are you teaching, right? And it's one part business.
It's a bit of sales.
Right?
It's a bit of
sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
But it's the most virtuous sales pitch there is, right?
Solution-based
It's all
selling.
based on truth.
Yep.
The advertising is so simple, right? I think there was. I think it was. Dr. Michael Greger, who was giving a talk, and he said, think about how much the Apple people spend on advertising. Nothing. But everyone eats apples.
Right.
Because it's so clearly obvious.
Right.
But McDonald's, billions and billions of dollars,
right,
to convince people to eat that substance.
That garbage.
Right. Full of salt, right?
Yeah.
Product.
Salt's the least bad part
So I
of
think,
I'd say.
yeah, I think at Evolve for Animals, it's an education-based approach. Every organization has their own thing the way that they do it, right? But education, clearly talking about the issues. I would say go one step further. Don't even talk about it as a diet. Talk about it as an entire lifestyle that keeps animals off of consumption, right? And if you want to get in touch with Anthony, can you raise your hand? We're going to have a workshop in about 2 months for vegans out there who want to learn more about the pedagogy of veganism, how to teach veganism to other people. You can give your email to him. He's the campaign's outreach coordinator for Evolve for Animals, and we will get in touch with you.
Glad to sign up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
But I wonder if sometimes that type of conversation scares people off. The whole, it's a lifestyle change, because I know when I'm around my friends, and if I make eating, I'm vegetarian, trying to move towards veganism, but when I talk about how much it's changed my life, it makes it scarier for people. And I saw, a conversation online a little while ago about, is it better to be a perfect vegan or a vegan that people can feel, should you be that, whatever, is this made with chicken broth, or should you just kind of, I don't want to say go with the flow, but be a little bit less of a perfect vegan to make more people possibly open up to it? How do you feel about that?
Because we live in an you have to figure out each situation individually. What I will say is this, right? you bring that fear to the conversation, they're gonna pounce on it, right? You come with confidence, they're listening. That's the only thing I can tell you, believe it, believe it, believe it. If you go into the world as a confident vegan, the world will respond to you accordingly, right? It won't attack you. This is the only way we can get it done, is to go out there and not apologize, right? We're on the right side of a widespread wrong. You do not have to go out there and apologize for who you are. Just be who you are. You don't have to preach it all the time, right? They'll come to you, let them ask you questions, but then speak clearly on the issue. That's it.
Yeah.
It works.
I think it would be like any other issue, right? I mean, if you're gay and your family doesn't like you're gay, and then you have to suppress yourself and you're not gonna want to comment something, or you know.
But you're not trying to
racism.
turn other people gay in that, you know, in that.
No, I'm talking
right,
about like how it feels, you know, in terms of like.
I know, but like when you're trying to spread other people to be vegan, it's kind of a little bit of a different situation. You don't. It's not just about suppressing yourself, but you're trying to encourage others.
And why is that a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing.
Maybe,
I'm just
maybe
saying,
you should look at it
what's
in
the
terms
better way
of
of doing
what
that?
veganism did for you, and leave it at that, right? Like, if you're a vegan, just tell your story, because that's what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And let them have whatever reaction they're gonna have to that. And if you start to think about trying to convert, it becomes this whole other convoluted situation.
Practical question. In the film, he said that he lost his funding. Do you know who got the film to go on, A, and B?
Yes.
And B, simply have any of these organizations like Greenpeace, Oceania, I mean, because you're the environmentalist, have they responded to this? Like, are they, like, uh-oh, we're embarrassed? Or, like, what has been their reaction?
What happened to the lady over there?
Two-part question.
Sure. Do you want to go with the first part?
With the first one is Annie knows it better than I do. Animal.
Yeah, where did he get the money to complete the project?
So Animal United Movement, I said it's
Yeah.
the thing I kept saying over and over again at the raffle.
Yeah.
Where we're donating to. They helped put the funding up for, or they actually funded it. I
It was
believe.
Indiegogo. They made a campaign and they had like.
I know, I said gave
Yeah,
them
they
some money,
had-
but that was after.
Yeah, so the animal funding,
Animals United Movement.
Animals United Movement.
So there was already an organization in place that they went to get the money to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually the nonprofit that's allowing us to show this movie tonight. So I have to give them a big thank you, because without them we wouldn't. So this is why all the money here so we can have more screenings and things like that. I know that in response to, because I've been following up with the guys from Cowspiracy, and I know the Rainforest Action Network actually has been posting a lot of things on animal agriculture. So they did make some changes.
They did, really?
Oh yeah. Check their Facebook. There's been a lot of actually great posts.
But
And
we don't
I'm
think
always
they-
liking.
But Greenpeace has not contacted them at all.
On the website,
At all.
on the Facebook, yeah, and I've seen the Cowspiracy people post on their Facebook and say, thank you so much for posting this. It was like a picture of how much deforestation was caused by animal agriculture. So those people were the only ones that.
Greenpeace has been.
Nothing.
And I think mostly it's been responded to with silence.
Really?
I think for the most part, environmental organizations are just sort of ignoring it, head in the sand kind of thing, which is why we want at the People's Climate March, we're having a large vegan contingent there to share these facts with all of the 120,000 concerned environmentalists there.
Yeah. And we actually posted our event on their website, on the People's Climate March, and someone informed me that it got removed.
Oh, wow.
So who's financing the People's Climate March? Where's that money coming from then? We got
Oil and gas companies, Dow Chemical, and some of the others are
Interesting.
direct supporters of the supporters. So
Interesting.
it's Climate March. So it's kind of
They love steering that opposition, don't they?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, the movie was great, great panel, and good job you guys for putting this together. I have a couple points and just a few thoughts off of what you were talking about over there about, veganism and spreading it. I feel like it's not really about personal purity. It's more about being approachable and coming off as a quote-unquote normal person and relatable. So I think that's like a really important thing, at least for me, being vegan, the way I try to reach people is just show them I'm like a regular person just like them. I just happen to be vegan, and then kind of go from there. One other thought about activism. This whole movie was made basically because he saw a Facebook post. I think that was really cool. He said that in the beginning. He saw someone posted something about, such an amount of grains having to be, the whole ratio for meat and grains, and it motivated him to kind of look into it, and he ended up making, doing all this and potentially reaching millions of people just from somebody taking one little click. So, just encourage people to kind of share their thoughts, because you could end up making somebody make a movie, even if you go to work every day and don't have time to make a movie. And one other thing, and maybe the panel can speak to this, they talked about it a little bit in the movie, but do you guys have any thoughts about people not making more people? Just in general, because we do know that, and of course, I'm speaking as a vegan and I want everybody to be vegan, but if you're not going to be vegan, it's a good idea maybe not to make more meat eaters. And it's just sort of a thought, it's something that is like not really spoken about as well in the vegan and environmental community. It's like the next step, like maybe don't make so many people. Just wanted to see if you guys had thoughts on it.
Why don't we reverse it? How about we say, if you're a vegan, go ahead and have some kids.
You can't control their future generations. They can end up being 1 million meat eaters from one kid, if the world sustains itself. See, I'm blowing your mind, just like the people in Greece. Think about it. One kid can end up making, if the world continues, millions of meat eaters. It's a horrible thought, but it's true.
I don't even think from the perspective of making more meat eaters, but just making more people itself. I don't think from that perspective, there's going to be more meat eaters. I just think there's going to be more people, period. And I personally am pro not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to hear, what you guys feel and if you have any thoughts.
I don't want to have kids only because I don't want to spend the money on them. So that's a
Sounds like a selfish reason.
I started being a mother a while ago, and I just gave up the dream being pro of something bigger, which is, overpopulation. I don't think it's exactly or adopt. My partner and I have a dog, so it's our kid.
That's I have a kid too, a Chihuahua, 10 pounds.
Yeah. Once you start having awareness about all these issues, everything, you start thinking more about these things.
So I'm wondering, at what point does individual action and choices and getting a social movement started and getting a critical mass, at what point does that gather enough, where does it meet, the political power, the lobbyists hold? At what point
They're going to be an
does
actual
it engage
conversation.
structurally,
I wish I knew
the
that.
way our government is set up?
Yeah, that's a really tricky question. I think some of that is happening in Israel right now. There's been a huge, I think it's up to 5 to 7% of the population, and it's become a huge national conversation about veganism and animal rights. So I see that as kind of the baseline number where everyone has, at some point, so many vegan friends in their lives that they can't really ignore the issue anymore. And as far as the, political aspect of it, which they only briefly touched on in the movie, which I personally find most problematic.
They're going up against the ag-gag laws.
Right.
The people who have so much power and money. At what point?
Well, I think we're there right now, as Will Potter was saying. We're all these ag-gag laws and things like the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act, and all these things are criminalizing activism, specifically animal rights activism, in certain ways, because they fear the growing animal rights movement hurting the profits of the companies that are the biggest donors and lobbyists to our elected representatives. So we're seeing that now. And until we start changing politics at a certain level, we're going to be running up against these problems. But I say we have to sort of leave politics and policymakers sort of off to the side because they're kind of too corrupt already. We just got to like sort of drag them along with the wave of activism and veganism that we hope to encourage in the country. Bring them along with us.
I think everything that has to do with politics and the legal system, to me, in my mind, is a secondary issue because they only have money because there's a consumer base. You rob them of their money when you turn people vegan. That's it. They don't have any power then. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do with your day? Are you going to start writing letters to your senator? Or you want to go talk to your friend about why she's eating ice cream? That's what I would do.
Although, does big agriculture then maybe want us to be like that? Because they're just counting on us staying a minority instead of actually making structural changes in our policies.
I think they love that the vegan animal rights movement fights with itself, that it's spread out, that it's not unified. We feed into that all the time. I think we should just go on the vegan message. That's my personal feeling. Go on the vegan message, go at it hard, go at it clearly, go at it respectfully, done. Case closed. We can be done with this in 5 years. That's what I think. Simple. We don't have to make it overcomplicated. You know what I mean?
And to give the example on the political side, I'm very bad with that, but I see your point, and I'm questioning myself that I should probably get a little better at it. But there's a girl that has inspired me a lot who does horse carriage demos, and she's a pro at talking to politicians. She has this whole organized thing that she goes and writes them letter, goes them to their office, and the best thing she says, you gotta know who they are. You're gonna talk to these people. She gives them the Blinders CD to watch, and I totally support her. I wish I knew how to talk to these people a little more, but you are right. I think we should get politically involved
as strong as
somehow. We should start thinking about those things. I think that's a very actually valid point. And I would love for anybody that's involved in politics somehow to help us out and light us with something, because I think that's
Can I interject quickly though? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about getting organized and mobilized and being coordinated. And the politics is going to follow, at least there's a very strong case that the politics is going to follow these mobilized social groups. And so it's really the same question. And if we are focusing on getting dense networks of dedicated activists, we are going to get that the lobbyists will follow. I mean, if politicians think, people really care about this issue, the change will come. And so it's really it's two sides of the same coin. We really just need to think about how we can work together and be in a very coordinated, powerful way.
I was hoping the gentleman who made the comment about people in his office only believing that veganism is possible by doing the health angle to them, is that no matter like how you go vegan, whether it's for selfish reasons, your health, you're a human too, just like these animals, so it's okay to go into it because you have major health issues and you want to lose weight and all this stuff. Or you see a 4-minute video from Mercy for Animals and they pay you $1 and that's selfish reasons too, but then you get that knowledge and then you change that way. Or you watch this film and you're into the Amazon and you saving the rainforest. That's what I think that's the whole beauty about veganism is that there's so many angles, it touches so many different things that it doesn't matter where you jump into it, because once you do, like I went into it for health reasons, totally selfish reasons. I had no idea about the horrific facts about animal agriculture, and by watching Forks Over Knives and then watching another documentary on Netflix and then other things, I slowly got educated, and now I'm like a full-on woohoo vegan, who like is all about everything, not just about my health anymore. But I did go in it for health, and now I'm in it for everything.
Can I add a statement to that? I actually found that statement earlier rather upsetting.
Yes, me too.
And very selfish. But I mean, like you said, regardless of what you go into it, it's kind of what you make it.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of lost what I was going to say. I had a great line already and I lost it.
It's not that it's not part of the conversation. It should be. If going vegan was going to be completely detrimental, right, and fatal to one's health, I don't know, how many of us are going to do that? I don't know.
Right.
Reevaluate, right?
Yeah.
But it's part of the entire web of the situation. If you said, you're going to go vegan, but you're going to create so many starving people around the world, that's part of the dialogue, right? But the fact of the matter is the facts are on our side.
You said that, you want to empower us to have events like this. How do we? And then how do we have like a screening of Cowspiracy, maybe, in your neighborhood, whatever. And then, Robert, I just found out today that we actually work in the same company. What do you do about the workplace? Talking, like when you go out to lunch with coworkers, etc. So.
Can I start number one?
Yeah.
So when I meant I wanted to empower you guys, it's not just for screenings. So please don't quote me on that just for screenings. I meant with everything. I meant, when I showed you guys that little crash video that we did on disruption, we went down and crashed that event. That's the sort of things that we need to do because those things affect other people in a way that's very on their face. And when it's very on their face, it becomes very personal. So that's the type of change that we gotta start creating as like a domino effect. But to going back to the screening question, you go to tugg.com, TUGG.com, and then you can start your own screening. Evolve for Animals is having one, October 5th.
Anthony, you want to talk about it real quick?
Well, everybody's doing it.
Yeah. My name is Anthony. I'm the outreach coordinator for evolveforanimals.org. We are doing a screening on October 5th. You could go through, in Montclair, New Jersey, you can go to our Facebook page and get all the information there. You can come see me afterwards. I'll give you my card and I will communicate with you as best I can. You could go through tugg.com. However, we didn't because the area that we wanted to do it in didn't have a Tugg theater. It's not cheap. You have to be creative and you got to be resourceful, but it can be done, and it has to be done. Make no mistake. This movie is very well researched. It's not a joke anymore. It's not enough. Veganism is not enough. It's not enough. I want to just say one thing. Who are the non-vegans in the room? Any non-vegans left? All right. Who are the vegans in the room? Non-vegans. These are your potential sponsors. These are the people that will help you.
Yes.
These are the people you need to talk to after, and they will help you. We will help you. We will embrace you.
We have some people sponsors.